Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 17, episode 10. This is the Star Spangled Mess. All right, we start off with Miss Pinky. She is having like a business meeting with some folks, She got her hands in a few other pots other than just the slutty vegan. She used to be a producer way back in when she told us about, working on more the Maury show. And I think Ayanla's Fix My Life. And, so she wants to do, some type of show. Atlanta meets Insecure type, just to showcase another side to her, and just to let us know that when it comes to that bankruptcy thing, because people probably gonna ask her like, now how's you in bankruptcy, but you is starting other businesses? How's that work? Well, she filed bankruptcy personally, not business wise. So the two is separate. So that means she can do whatever she wants on the business side, just not necessarily personally. I don't know. Anywho, Naturi. She friends with Naturi over there, the actor, singer, from 3LW and some other things, movies, TV shows. They working together on this project, so that should be interesting, I guess, whenever we actually see whatever this turns out to be. Okay, so we are meeting up at Lake Bailey with Team A. We're gonna call them Team A, which is Phaedra, Angela, Portia, Drew, Cynthia. Okay. And they are just kind of talking about what happened between, the conversation between Kay and Portia and um, Shamia and Angela, right? So when it comes to Kay and the Portia situation, she just let them know that, well, they did make up. It's just the whole thing of how she just making all this stuff up in her head, is pretty much how what we thinking. It's like, it's really all in her head. And who is the person that is telling her all these things? Which, I mean, I don't know. I think it's Shamia. Like, I ain't gonna lie. It just adds up, right? Shamia, Kelly, right? That they're feeding her little tits and little taps, and that's what's making K Michelle paranoid. But they don't want to admit to it, and Kay doesn't want to necessarily admit to it just yet. Should I say? You know what I'm saying? Like the whole K Michelle, let them know that it's not me. Like that was, like a whole ruse, just to try to get it off her, but we know it's really you, right? But anyway, but just letting the girls know that at the moment they are cool. Okay. So, but when it comes to Shamia and Angela, it's like, oh Jesus, like we tried to talk, we tried to figure it out. We went to dinner, but we did not even get to dinner, and she walked away because listen, she didn't want to hear nothing I had to say. And before Angela can even start on this whole rant about Shamia sleeping around on her husband, maybe with the Falcons or the Hawks or, and not necessarily in the moment, maybe like in the past, because, producers asking her, well, who told you this? Of course, she ain't going to tell you who told her, but, it's rumor. Somebody said it. I don't know, but, it's just something I know. So, okay, whatever. Portia said, well, listen, Shamia is or was my bestest friend. So, I know everything. Like, come on now. If they want to talk about her, let me go exit. She said, I got to go to the bathroom. Let me exit stage left so that I ain't got to, my face ain't got to turn. My nose ain't got to twitch. My eye ain't got to wink. I ain't got to on nothing. Because y'all talk about her. I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, cool. I kind of like that because even though we beefing, I'm not going to get into y'all beef that y'all got going on because I ain't got nothing to do with me. Me and her got our own thing here. Y'all do it. And I ain't going to spill it because she is a married woman out here in these streets and we're not going to do all that. And also, by the way, we at Lake Bailey's. We at Cynthia's house. Her man, LaPrince, was there. So all the ladies got to meet him, say hi, cool, whatever, whatever. Of course, he ended up leaving because it's the girl's time, not a man's time. And Shamia sends a message. This message says, Hey guys, I'm throwing a surprise birthday for Gerald. I would love for you guys to come wear your best African attire. And they're like, okay, cool. Everybody invited. This is a little last minute because, we got to go shopping, right? Drew, you didn't get no text or nothing? Nah, I ain't invited, and I'm not going to be doing no crashing right now, okay? So I'm at least sit this one out. And Portia brings up that, hey, she invited Dennis, I think, maybe like a week ago. So this is the first time y'all hear about this? Interesting. But now Drew looking like, we'll see now. Now you ain't got no smoke for her because she talking to Dennis. But when I was talking to Dennis, it was all a whole thing. Yeah, whatever. But it's different because guess what? You not Portia bestest friend, or was her bestest friend. Say, look, not K Michelle trying to have a five some with what is it, Gerald, Shamia, Kelly, and Caston, girl. Yeah, we're at the party, by the way. And that was when Kelly started to give some crazy little heartfelt, tear-felt, actually, speech about how good of a man Gerald is, at his birthday party, surprise birthday party. Not everybody came. It was just Phaedra, Cynthia, her boo, K. Michelle, her husband, and Kelly. And she said she invite Pinky could have came or had a prior engagement. No Portia because let's not fake the funk today. And of course, we're gonna boot all them other girls that she don't get along with. Yeah, Kelly definitely drunk at this Gerald's party, but Shamia is trying to explain her half of the whole Angela sit down dinner that never really happened, but saying that she came from my marriage, and trying to say that I slept with all the athletes in Atlanta and all this stuff, and I called her Bigfoot. So of course Cynthia like, okay, I mean, Bigfoot, I mean, I got big feet, right? That's what I said. Portia got big feet. Shamia, bitch, you got big feet too. Why you trying to act like you don't? You just as tall. But okay, whatever. Maybe she's still a size 10 or something. Maybe she's not a 12. She might be a 10, maybe 11 on a good day. Okay, I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about the girls with the feet, but you know what I'm saying. As long as you wear them well, fine. Okay. And they like, okay, Shamia. Well, for what she said to us, it was that she responded to the energy that she was giving her. So she like, I mean, whatever. That's how she want to spin it. Now Shamia be like, if that's how she want to say, fine. But I'm what she say, kiss my ass, so, or with your fake ass, and I said kiss it. Okay, whatever. And Kelly over there, like I said, she drunk now. Ooh, her booty is not fake. It is so soft. Ooh, and I felt it and I touched it. See, and they like, girl, you know what? It's time to go. Okay, party over. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Miss Giselle Bryant has made her little guest appearance on the show. Okay. I guess she out there filming a little bit, a couple scenes for Beyond the Gates. Okay, cool. But Karen did it first. But anywho, her and Portia's good gal pals, which is kind of surprising. I didn't really see it coming like this because Giselle doesn't like hood rat ghetto bitches, right? Supposedly dark skinned ghetto bitches. But I guess Portia is different from Monique, right? Okay. So she's here, they're cool. She just like, will catch me up on all that's going on in Atlanta, taking shots. Cute. Talking about Shamia basically, because she knows that is her friend. So how is it going? Portia just telling her like, I mean, it's not going. we're on pause, as Andy, I guess, would say, and it is what it is. She wasn't invited to Gerald's party, and that's fine because hey, that's her house. Let her do what she want to do. She know it's gonna be a time when they gonna get there. It's just not now. That's all. All right. So the next scene is Pinky Doll, or I keep calling her Pinky Doll. I'm sorry. I just watched Love and Hip Hop Miami, and that girl is on there. But anyway, Pinky having these auditions for her little TV series or whatever it is about, her show. And Shamia is there because, Shamia is in the acting world, right? And Drew shows up. But Drew is just showing up for support, which was more of like a hi bye. It wasn't like a hey, let me sit back and watch this process support. Hi bye. She goes say hey to Shamia, good luck. Oh, you don't want to read with me? I was gonna help you read. Okay, fine. You ain't gotta do that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say hi to Pinky or whatever. Going there, hey Pinky, what's up? Oh, Notori, what's up, girl? Hey, how you doing? Because they know each other through the ways. And Pinky like, oh, you not here to audition? She's like, no, I just came, for support, which is, hey, how y'all doing? And I got to go. Because as she explaining it, or they both trying to explain it, it's like, okay, look, there's a way you do auditions and stuff like that in the acting world, okay? You gotta send scripts and things to my manager, my agent, and they send it to me, and then they go through the agency, and then it's a lot of back and forth, email here, call me there, and then I go and do the audition. But I guess Pinky was like, well, girl, it was a lot, so I probably didn't go through all the extras, but I did send everything to the manager, and he said he was gonna be here, but my bad. So she like, okay, cool, whatever, it's just, I'm a big box office star, so I can't be doing all those little things like that. And I was cracking up because Notori, as soon as she said, oh, I'm not here to audition, you didn't, the whole spiel, her face was like, and she just put her head down, got to chewing that gum. I said, yeah, Drew, you. I know this isn't like Paramount, Fox Productions, but yeah, you it's. I mean, we don't. I mean, I don't. She can act like how she want to. How about that? It's just maybe in certain spaces, just be a little bit more humble. That's all I'm saying. And so Pinky was like, yeah, okay, girl, I love you, but you got to go. Bye. And Shamia comes in and she does her little audition, and they was like, okay, cool, you got a little acting into you, and maybe you might could do something with you, know what I'm saying? It's just for Shamia part, like she wanna do the acting and everything, of course she do. It's just for her marriage's sake and for Gerald's sake, she can't be doing no romantic stuff with no man. No kissing, no hugging, no fake, all that stuff in the movies. Nope. You just have to be that girlfriend, that friend, that mama, that somebody, that sister, but you ain't gonna never have no man on the road. And you can still do that though. That's what I'm saying. You can still do that. I just figured out that dang girl name. It was Paris, her K Michelle older sister that was stealing from her. But anywho, yeah, next scene with K Michelle and Phaedra. She actually likes Phaedra here, okay? I guess the more she gets to know her, the more she realized that, we might have more things in common than not, right? So she invites her over, and she got this whole thing about, let me see what kind of pie she brings, which I don't even know, did she even ask her to bring a pie, or did Phaedra just so happen to pop up with a pie? Because, Southern thing, right? Real country folk like, Phaedra is the Southern belle, right? Coined herself that. Anywho, she bring a pecan one, and by that meaning for K Michelle is that, she's a little nutty. And I'm like, you know what? She might be onto something, because Phaedra is a little bit of that. Yep, a little cup of peanuts. But anywho, they go out fishing, and she showed her little fishing trick. Was it some hot dogs soaked in garlic and Kool-Aid? Interesting. I'm gonna have to try that one day. I don't got no fishing poles right now, but maybe if I go get some and go, I'm gonna try it instead of a worm. I don't even think they caught nothing, but they get to talking, and Phaedra trying to be nosy, asking why Portia wasn't invited to Shamia's house because, she know Kay know for sure. And Kay looking at her like, well, you ain't gonna get it from me because, girl, you already know, being Portia's friend. Come on now, like, which is true. Like, you already know what they got going on. I know what they got going on. They not talking about it, so we not gonna talk about it. That's basically how it's going. So they kind of move on into the whole this IVF journey that IVF yeah that K Michelle, she did do that for like a whole year or so just to try to have a child. She always wanted a little girl. And being married to Caston, he ain't got no kids, so it's like, I ain't gotta give him a kid, right? I don't know, it's just her thinking obligation, right? But if she can't do it, they agree that we can go find, somebody else to try to help us, donor and all that stuff. People do it. It works. It's just she ain't going through that no more, which is understandable because that's kind of where Shamia is going to be at if this egg don't land, where she trying to have this baby because, yeah. Do they want to go through all that again? So Phaedra just kind of lets okay, so it was a message. She asked her, did she get a message from Drew? She's going to sing the national anthem at this charity event. So, inviting all the ladies to come. Kay is like, I don't know about this because, her and Drew is not cool. So why would I be in the same room with her, right? I think they had a whole little argument about like we not in the same spaces type situation. The same that Portia Phaedra had with Angela. Like, girl, we ain't never been in the same rooms. Okay, yeah. She like, I don't know if I should just go to this. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. So Phaedra just letting her know, like, listen, if you want to be in this group, which I think, who did she have this talk with? Somebody else in the past. Can't think about that. Oh, probably Britt Edie. Yes. If you want to be in this friend group, girl, you're going to have to learn to agree to disagree. That way, we just be cordial and play along to get along. Okay? Because we are co-hosts, co-workers in this show. And this show ain't going to work if we don't have all the characters doing their character jobs. Okay? So you supposed to be here in this character with your side. It got to work with the group, child. Okay? That's all we saying. Like, you can't, this is a group effort. Yes, we can fight and all that stuff, but like I said, we agree to disagree, but we still got to be cordial because guess what? We got to show up to work. This is work. And if you can't work, then you might not have, you want to quit or get fired. It's one or the other. So, okay, thinking about it. She's thinking about it. Okay, so Drew's fundraiser thing that she was going to sing at was actually for Rich Homie Quan. It was like a little memorial baseball type of kickback fundraiser thing, so that was kind of cool. She did her national anthem, she didn't crack no notes. Okay, she did pretty well. They gave her applause as they should have. Pretty much everyone showed up except for I think Angela and Phaedra did not come, so that was a little bit surprising for Kay because she showed up after the anthem was done. Like, well, dang, I thought you was going to be here to kind of, have my back a little bit was, but okay. I think, Shamia is in there or whatever, Kelly, so she should be okay. So she gets out and, she says hi to everybody. And surprisingly, Kelly said hi to Portia as well, okay? Because we're cool. We gotta be cordial, right? That sounds like we ain't gotta like each other, but we here, okay? Because we, like I say, but we here. So, she's saying hey to everybody, and when it comes to Drew, she's like, well, Drew, I just came for the family. I ain't necessarily come for you, but I'm here, so hey, support, whatever. And of course, Drew was like, oh, geez, she gotta make it all about her, but whatever, fine. At least she here, I guess, but I, I have no beef with the girl. It's all she has it all with me. And at this moment, I think all the ladies could not stay. I believe Kelly had to leave and Pinky had to leave. And so Kay, Portia, and Shamia was like, "Oh well, let's go get something to eat." Okay, I don't know why Drew likes to torture herself this way. Because these girls just don't see it for her. And she be trying. She really do. And it just never really comes out in her favor. I mean, I guess it kind of does in the end because she doesn't really, it's not necessarily really all her fault because they are coming for her as well, okay? Especially when it comes to Kate Michelle because that whole black situation, honestly, I don't know why it rattled you so much, especially when she explained everything. Like yeah, it shouldn't have rattled you that much. And you were the one that kept bringing it up, bringing it up, bringing it up. So it was more of a you problem when it comes there. So they do try to go eat, and once Kay and Drew got into the conversation, because she was, I'm gonna try. Basically, I'm gonna try. It was just her, Kay, and Shamia. Portia didn't show up, and the other ladies had to go. So once they got into their little spat as to why they just can't get along, that's when Kay was like, "Well, you know what? We're just gonna have. I'm just gonna, let me go to the bathroom or whatever," because uh, she missed the whole anthem thing, and I don't want to hear it because I ain't got time for that. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna do all that. Um, she tried to leave before the conversation could really blow up here. And Shamia was like, "No, you can't leave. Let me hold the bag." Case Michelle said, "Man, forget that bag," and she just left anyway. And they could see her because they were sitting outside, so they could literally see her on her way out. She like, "Bye, toodaloo, deuces." So I'm like, "Oh geez." So Shamia like, "Okay, well, I know me and Drew ain't really cool like that, but maybe we can, try to at least have some kind of conversation here. At least just I can maybe smooth it out between her and Kay." Which she does try to say, well, I don't think Kay, she's trying to turn a new leaf here. She was trying to be cordial and just trying to leave it alone. But I think you the one that just keep pressing it, right? But Drew was like, no, it's not me, it's her. And from here, we kind of go into the whole Drew and Shamia and yeah, the Drew and Shamia thing because they don't get along because of the way that Drew went back and told Portia and others what she said about Portia. So it's like, well, no, because now you basically starting mess between me and Portia. It's just kind of how Drew is saying. So that's why you don't like me because you think I'm starting a mess between you and Portia, which is the same reason why I guess Angela think that you don't like her because you keep trying to start mess between her and Portia. Which I'm like, I don't know why y'all doing things like that because y'all the Shamia and Portia thing, y'all not gonna get nothing out of them until they're ready to go at it with that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where the frustration will lie in when it comes to Shamia because y'all the ones who keep bringing that up instead of just having an issue with me. And of course, Drew called her the lap dog. And, well, now we get the name calling because she don't want to be no lap dog. I'm not no lap dog. I'm just trying to be, the mediator here between you and Kay. But I guess not. If it's not going to work that way, then fine. Fine, okay, peace. And Hashmir be too much of the rah-rah. Nah, I got to go. I'm going to leave you just like Kay Michelle left. And as she was getting ready to leave, Kay Michelle did not necessarily leave because, like I said, she left her purse. Her assistant come out to go and get the purse as Shamia was on her way out. So Shamia like, okay, cool, well, wait, because let me catch a ride since you stole my ride. Let me get up in here, y'all can drop me off. But before they get to going, they get to turn on the national anthem to antagonize Drew even more. And they singing all out in the street. national anthem. Oh my goodness. I'm like, really? And Drew just sitting there like, I'm gonna just finish my lemon drop, man. I can't believe it. They just always coming for me. This and that. Never me. And they the ones. Oh my goodness. And I'm like, really, Drew? You right. You probably should have never came. You should have just stayed where you was at, which was probably was go home or something like that. Yeah. You should have just went home. Meeting up with Kay and Shamia, you should have known. I shouldn't have been here by at least by myself with them. Somebody had to come with me, but who? Angela wasn't here because I guess Angela would be the only one that had her back. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I think Pinky would have helped her out a little bit because I feel like Pinky is neutral with everybody, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. That's why I said I don't know why Drew be torturing herself like this because every time you be getting them, you do be getting them, girl, but they still be shutting you down, and you just still be like, well, whatever. And I just think that you probably should, like you was trying to tell Kay to speak up a little bit more. Maybe it's the way she got to learn how to speak because they ain't hearing her. They ain't hearing her. But anywho, that's where we left off with this episode. You know, we still got a whole bunch of mess to come. Especially, we finally gonna get that Portia and Shamia breakdown. They finally gonna do it. But we ain't there yet. Because that's kind of what we waiting on. Like, we done with all the other stuff. Let's get to the mamas. That's where real dirt at. But anywho, this was the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 17. And yeah, special guest Giselle was on here. Potomac will be here soon. It's like, nah. A little sooner than later. He'll be back in the fall. They filming now. Yep. And Wendy ain't going to jail yet. Bye.